Welcome to the Razors Inc. podcast with your host, Jonathan Farini. Today, we hear Jonathan's take on a somewhat overlooked entertainer. As much as someone whose movies have raked in more than $2 billion can be considered overlooked, he was among the last of entertainers who were invested in and trained by Hollywood studios to act, sing, and dance. So pour yourself a drink, pull up a chair, and hear Jonathan's take on an actor who almost single-handedly caused a spike in pottery wheel sales. Here's your host, Jonathan Farini.
Welcome to the Razors Inc. podcast. I want to talk about Patrick Swayze today. I find myself watching two Patrick Swayze movies over and over again. And what are they, you might ask? Well, it's not Dirty Dancing, and it's not Ghost. We lost Patrick Swayze. He was age 57 from pancreatic cancer. I'm not going to tell you his biography. Go look it up. Very interesting guy. He was obviously an actor, a dancer. He was also a singer, songwriter, and a choreographer. He's from Texas. So I watched Roadhouse and Point Break over and over again. And I asked myself, why are you watching this, Jonathan? You did not pay to see this film in theatrical release. Why are you watching it again? It's because of Patrick Swayze. He pulls off the bouncer with good intentions in Roadhouse and plays opposite Sam Elliott, another Texas guy. I believe he's from Texas. More about Texas and actors in a minute. And Ben Gazzara. Ben Gazzara is just a workhorse. Shows up in TV, movies. Hey, show me the role. I'm going to play it aptly. But the thing about Roadhouse is he plays a bouncer, and he shows his athleticism because there's a lot of fisticuffs and the like, and a lot of stunt work. And because he was a great dancer, he could pull this off. But he does it without an edge. He's like a good guy who has to be bad sometimes. And I think that's what's so appealing about him. And when you go to Point Break, opposite the young Keanu Reeves, you can see, if you look carefully and if you watch the movie enough, you can see a lot of mentoring going on between the actor, Patrick Swayze, and the actor, Keanu Reeves. So in Point Break, Patrick plays this surfer dude. And the surfer dude is complex because he loves the waves, he loves nature, and he leads this band of surfers who rob banks so they can afford to be adventurers, not to be chained to the system. And a lot of us can identify with that, but they're robbing banks. Keanu Reeves plays an FBI agent. So that duplicity in the surfer guy with the bank robber is a very complicated role to pull off. But Patrick Swayze actually does it. And I find myself rooting for that character. I really do. And the character Patrick plays in Point Break has figured out that Johnny, played by Keanu Reeves, is an FBI agent and really wants to show him the beauty of the surfer life. And it's really wonderful to see that weaved into the role that Patrick plays. So now back to the Texas thing. So Patrick's from Texas. And I also want to talk about Matthew McConaughey real quickly. Being from Texas, they bring this Western toughness combined with that sage wisdom and that self-effacing, that's the word, self-effacement to their roles, which, you can't learn in acting school. I'm sorry, okay? And it's really beautiful to watch. So it would be interesting for me to know if women watch Roadhouse, if women watch Point Break. I think I've watched Dirty Dancing in bits and pieces. It doesn't really get to me, or does Ghost. I think those are more romantically inclined versus adventure films. I think you would give me that much. So it's just my personal taste. I don't go back and watch those over and over again, but I'm tipping my hat to Patrick Swayze by calling out these two films and saying that, what Patrick Swayze is really reminiscent of the actors that came up through the old studio system, where back in the day, you went to school on the studio lot and they taught you to act, they taught you to sing, they taught you to dance. You were multifaceted, and that's what Patrick Swayze is. Go read his biography, look at his films, see what he's doing. I mean, he is very, very athletic in Point Break, and his athleticism shows up in the stunts that are in Roadhouse. And when you read about him, you'll see that athleticism, really is a thread throughout his life. And he had aside from the disease which killed him, he had some other challenges which you can read about. With that being said, we're very, very fortunate to have him for as long as we did. I can only imagine the wonderful roles that we would have been the beneficiaries of watching, had he lived longer. Everything that I've read about him is that he was a very nice guy off the set. I think he hung out up at Lake Arrowhead, if you know that place in Southern California. But everybody that worked with him and ran into him said he was a very good guy. And it shows on the screen. You can't fake that. You can't fake the hard work that goes into a film like Dirty Dancing. I mean, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of choreography. The surfing scenes, he's on the surfboard, jumping out of planes in Point Break, jumping about bank counters and the like. Very athletic, very skillful. He makes it look easy. That's all I can say. He makes it all look easy, which means he's really, really good. Okay. So listen, with that being said, go watch Patrick Swayze movies. Rediscover him for yourself. I'm going to go and watch Dirty Dancing and watch Ghost and some other films that I normally wouldn't watch. And maybe if you haven't watched Point Break in a while or Roadhouse, watch them. See if you agree with me. If you don't, that's okay. But wherever you go, try to leave behind a soft footprint. Until I see you next time, class is dismissed.
And lest we forget, Swayze's fourth highest grossing film, he was arguably ahead of his time, portraying a drag queen in To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. Truly a Renaissance man. Be sure to check out Jonathan's collection of fiction at the Jonathan B. Farini Story Collection at jonathanfarini.com. There you'll find everything from drama to romance, something for every reader. That's jonathanfarini.com. Farini with 2 R's, 1 N. Or drop an email to razorsincpodcast@gmail.com.